Good afternoon. Everyone awake? Everyone awake? Just about? Had lunch? Waiting? Yeah, everyone looks so sleepy. Well, we'll get you lunch. We're going to do this quick fire round. My name's Ellie. I'm part of the Innovation Zone for these wonderful people you're about to meet. What is the Innovation Zone? The Innovation Zone is a cluster of wonderful people who will all be part of your medtech or regulatory journey, okay? So innovation all the way to the end. Everyone ready? Everyone, I want a yeah. Oh, thank God we're awake. Okay, so we've got a wonderful expert that's about to come up who is also related to me. So my mother is coming on stage, who is part of my company. Yes, we're friends. Yes, we like working together. Here we are.
Hi everyone. So we've got together as a group to try and explain to any would-be innovators what sort of journey they might need to go on. And of course it's a bit like looking at the London Underground. So what we've tried to do is make it a bit more straightforward for you, and we've all picked our own line that we're going to talk to you about today. So I'm representing Sequel Consultants today. That's our business, and we are able to help innovators with all kinds of support. And one of the things we did was organise the Oxford MedTech Fair, which is where this idea came from. Innovator support could run to introducing you to other experts, explaining to you the pathways that you might have to take, and giving you some kind of understanding of the sort of journey that you're going on. We also offer regulatory triage, so we help you work out where your device, where your digital health product, where your diagnostic sits in the system, and what type of regulatory pathway that you might need to follow. And then we introduce you to some really brilliant experts that are able to help you at a really good price, and you're going to see one of those in a minute. We also help with business development, because business development for innovators doesn't just start when you have a product ready. It starts when you're doing the research, when you're talking to users about how they're actually going to use your product, getting their feedback, telling people to give you the feedback that you need to develop your product properly, so that after that you can go on and go back to them and say, right, you helped me design this, would you like to buy it? So we help you understand how to pursue all of those people, how to get them interested in your product, to get them as a vested interest, and then how we use those relationships that you've created to sell more products to more people. Then finally, marketing, which my daughter is the expert of. And what we try and do is put startup marketing packages together. We're not talking about giving you a big fancy £20,000 bill for lots of things that you may or may not need at some point. We're talking about those critical elements. So you might need a one-page website that talks about the problem that you're solving, but because your IP hasn't been covered yet, you might not want to tell them how you're going to solve it. We'll be able to help you get your LinkedIn sorted, your personal LinkedIn and your company LinkedIn, and create content marketing and social media marketing to get the market ready and poised to receive your product. So we're Sequel Consultants. We can help you with all of those items, and now you're going to see some more of the experts and the services that they can give you. Thanks very much.
Hi everyone, so my name's Jagveer Purwell. I'm from a company called Foresters, and we're all about intellectual property. So you, as a starter, we're an innovator wherever you're based in the NHS or outside of the NHS. You've started with an idea, something you want to get to market, you want to make a difference of your technology. What we help you do is to navigate the legal space of intellectual property. And intellectual property is the kind of the legal rights you can use to protect your idea so that people can invest in your idea and others can't copy and infringe your rights. So there's 3 stops, if you like, to our services. The first is the strategy piece. So when you start, probably the only thing you have as an innovator is your idea. You need to know what your strategy is in terms of protecting it, and how can that work. How can you work with third parties? How can you work with, like, in the business development or the marketing side of things, to get your rights protected? But at the same time, you can't afford to spend much money then. So that's looking at what the strategy is, an audit of your IP rights, how you can protect them, what that looks like for you, and at what time should you, really get that process started. When we get to the protection side, we do all of that for you. Trademarks, designs, copyright, branding, all of those things we can help you protect at a price point that works for you and at the right time for you. Because if you start too early, then the costs can start coming in really early as well, and you might not be ready to exploit them. And at the same time, if your technology hasn't got to the right stage, maybe it's not the right time to patent as well. And finally, the other side of the coin is freedom to operate. So because medtech is such a big, valuable market, there's lots of patents that your competitors will have as well in their business space. So you want to be able to create something that's free of infringing other people's patents, as well as, you protect your rights, other people do the same, so you want to be able to protect against that. And we help you with that side of things as well. So if you're talking to investors, you're collaborating, IP will definitely come up in your conversations, and we're there every step of the way. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Blackwood. I'm CEO of an organisation called Health Tech Enterprise. We're an organisation that's been around for 20 years, working at the interface between the NHS and industry. We do a number of things. We help support NHS organisations to develop a culture of innovation and to support clinical innovators within the NHS to develop and commercialise their ideas. And we also work with a lot of startups and SMEs who are trying to get their products into the NHS, and they need help in navigating that market access. So in terms of our tube stops, I'm going to describe three of our services very briefly. So as many of you will know, being successful in the health and care market is not just about the technology, it's not just about proving the tech works, it's about developing the evidence base, making sure that you've clearly understood the user needs and the operational requirements of a large organisation like the NHS, and also making sure that you're ready to go through NHS procurement. So in terms of market insights and user insights, it's about really making sure you understand all the different perspectives from clinicians, from commissioners, from IT, from finance, getting all those insights and putting those together to inform both your product development strategy, but also ultimately your go-to-market strategy. So that's the user insights. One of the things we do a lot of at Health Tech Enterprise as well is health economic modelling. And that's about making sure that you can evidence the clinical, operational and financial impact of your innovation and be able to put together a clear and compelling value proposition for your business case, so that when you come to sell into the NHS or other healthcare systems, you can actually evidence the impact that you hope that your technology or innovation will have within a care pathway. So that's health economics, which is a key part of your business case. And then lastly, we help innovators to get ready for NHS procurement. So sadly, there isn't one door marked NHS procurement, which you can go through. There are lots of different routes by which the NHS procures new products and new services. They can be local, regional, and national. And there are lots of different standards, lots of different things that you'll have to demonstrate compliance with, whether that's information governance, interoperability, or other types of standards. So we can help walk you through all of the things that you will need to do in order to be ready to go through the relevant NHS procurement process. So that's what we do at Health Tech Enterprise, and I'm very happy to have a chat with anyone who's interested in any of those services. Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Hawkins, and I'm CTO and co-founder at SOTAS, and we're a quality and regulatory consultancy who can help medical device manufacturers with all aspects of quality and regulatory right from the very start to the end. So the stops on the journey here are, I think, the key parts of your quality and regulatory journey, and a lot of aspects of these will tie in with some of the stops on other speakers' slides that we've already had. So we'll start with regulatory strategy. For a new device, this is a key, I process to follow. It's identifying, what your device is, so the intended use and the associated routes to market. Often with modern devices, especially if they're software and AI, there are more than one route that you can follow to get to market, and that needs to be aligned with the commercial stakeholder requirements and the funding of the company. So, as an example, a software device may be able to launch as a Class 1 with a limited feature set that gathers data that builds towards future expansion of its feature set that might be a higher classification. Understanding that in an early stage really informs your processes beyond that. You've got QMS, quality management system. So all medical device manufacturers are required to have two things when they launch a device. The first is a quality management system, and this applies to the company as a whole, and it has a series of processes that define how your company operates for things like design, supplier management, monitoring, measuring, document control, and there are a series of key processes you have to have in place. Clinical and performance. So you have the clinical use of the device. You need to be able to evidence that it's both safe and effective for the intended use that you define. So that can mean either gathering data through literature review or through doing clinical studies. And that often ties in with the work that was on the previous slide, where you've also got to provide a value proposition for the NHS, and often these two processes go hand in hand, because you'll need clinical data to support the market access as well as the regulatory clearance. And then finally, you've got market entry. We've put together the submissions and work with regulators or notified bodies to get your device approved. So with many higher classification devices, you'll need to get them submitted, and somebody will review it. There'll be a series of questions, and interacting with the regulators and answering the questions in a right way, in a timely manner, is really key to getting your device to the market as quickly as possible. So that's SOTAS. We can help you with any of your quality and regulatory problems. And again, if there's any questions, please come and talk to us after. Thank you.
Afternoon all. So my name is Tamatvidas. I'm here from Test Labs. And here's one thing. NHS is hoping to move away from single-use medical devices by 2045. So this is amazing news. And there's three things that I believe will prevent that from happening, which is when you innovate your medical technologies, you need to think about the reprocessing validation. So cleaning, disinfection, sterilization validation, service life validation, and biocompatibility. And at Test Labs, that's what we do. We work with medical device companies, trying to find ways of helping them develop medical technologies and devices that last in the real world. So our focus is to work with medical device companies where we look at their cleaning validation, disinfection validation, sterilization validation, service life, and biocompatibility. And we do that in Peterborough, where our lab is just based an hour away from where we are now. And I think that's the biggest innovation that we can support with in the next 12 to 24 months. So if you have a medical product and you're interested in making sure that it's reusable, give us a chat. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Debbie East-Nuttall, and today I'm representing Kiwa. I actually come at the far end of the journey of putting a device on the market. So after you've been through all the stages that my colleagues have kindly talked about, you've got your initial concept, you've got your management system, you've got your technical file, you've had your testing, you've got your intellectual property, everything's sorted. We come at the far end. So what we offer is certification to ISO 13485. And for those who don't know, ISO 13485 is the acknowledged management system that medical device companies use for their quality management system. The actual audit that we undertake is in two stages. There's a stage 1 and there's a stage 2. And following a successful stage 2, then a certificate is issued. Now, ISO 13485 is generally accepted for devices that have a Class 1 classification. For anything above that, you normally need either a CE mark or a UKCA mark, dependent on where you want to place it on the market. So if you want to place it on the market in Europe, you'd need a CE mark. Obviously in the US and around the world there's different schemes, but for Europe it's CE marking. For UK at the moment it's UKCA. I'm just going to put a caveat around that because at the moment the UK is still accepting CE marking. So, and they'll probably accept it for quite a few years, if not forever. So if you've got a medical device that's a 2A, a 2B, a class 3, to place it on the market in the UK, you'd need a CE mark or UKCA. To place it on the market in Europe, you'd need a CE mark. Now, CE marking is slightly different to ISO 13485 audit in that there's still an on-site audit, there's still an audit that looks at your management system, but in addition to that, we also look at your technical file. And we'd expect your technical file to meet the requirements for CE marking. And it's generally, at the moment, a bit of a longer process, dependent on how adequate technical files are. So that's trying to give you an overview of selling into Europe or into the UK. If you've got any questions, obviously I'm around today, I'm around tomorrow. I'm quite happy to talk to you more in depth about any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Just to let you know, we are part of a wider group, and actually some of our colleagues weren't able to make it today, but we're offering an innovator support service, and we can introduce you to many other experts. This is just a few of the people that we're working with who can help you with funding, can help you with clinical trials, with design, with all your legals, your general legals, space if you want to, if you need to get labs or offices or something like that, specifically designed for startups. So we can introduce you to lots of people. We're in the section A of this particular event today, and we're hoping that we'll be sending a MedTech fair to a city near you during 2026. So please look out for us and our logo, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event today.
Don't worry, we're nearly done. So, the most important, happy hour. So, if you've got a long train journey ahead and you're really hot up here, because I am boiling stood up here, come have a little bev with us. Have a chinwag, and you can have a natural conversation with all of these lot all for free. So it's an absolute bonus anyway. And we look forward to seeing you. Innovation Zone, come have a chinwag.